All right. Hey, welcome back to our weekly show with REP. You've got owners Scott and Matt here at your disposal. So love when we can get together like this, Scott.
Yeah.
Because we know this inside and out, brother. Like this is we eat, breathe, sleep this stuff. So
Yep. And it's changing so fast.
Right. Which is why, we also got together this week and made a bunch of changes to pricing. We made a bunch of changes, trying to update that without getting too carried away as far as, making decisions. There's still a lot of products that are not available, but are becoming available. Lumber is getting shipped across the country, so it's starting to come down. But my plumber's still having problems just yesterday finding a certain Kohler transfer valve. If you're a plumber, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It diverts 2 or 3 other heads, and we called 3 of the largest suppliers in Wisconsin, and we could only find 5 of them. And then it was like, okay, are they really existent? Because we'll go get all of them. So it says 5 on your stock, but that's the way it's been going. So as we navigate around pricing and as we navigate around materials being available, and that, we even saw in Illinois, the whole state gas tax increase again this week. And now they're literally just blaming it. They're just calling it inflation. That's it. Like, well, yep, now it's inflation. That's why we're bringing the tax. So again, across the board, kind of seeing this. I did have a real interesting call from one of our biggest fans out in Minnesota, and she came and was asking about an interesting one about adding AC when you have a boiler system, and so and what that cost would be. And so we do that frequently, where we put these units in the attic, and so it still has a line that comes down, and there's a condenser outside that it hooks into, but the lines come up and it's in the attic or the half walls a lot of times for those older houses upstairs. But then there are ports that these ports go into the ceilings, like little 1.5 or 2 inch little round holes you'll see up in the ceiling, and that's actually
I've seen those.
Yep. And that's coming from those AC systems, because obviously you're not going to go and put ductwork, because there isn't any. You're not going to add ductwork to the entire house. You're tearing out walls and floors and soffits and all kinds of things, right? So but yeah, so it was fun to actually, we are your personal GCs as well, talk through this stuff with you. So those are questions that come. I love it. Another one just came from one of our students as well with REP that they've had it for years. They use it for every deal, but she called me up and said, hey, have you updated the window pricing? Because my contractor is charging me $550 a window. And I said, no. I said, look, I just used the same guy last week. We did a whole house up here in Racine, all the windows, aluminum wrap, caulked, double hung white vinyl, typical, $350. That's taking the window out. That's the window. That's installing it, putting the aluminum on it, everything. $350. That's still a number that my window guy supplies. I don't run around town and go pick up windows or order them. That's on him, because the sizes are his sizes. I'm not going to be responsible for that. So $350. And that's what I told her. I just did a house last week. She calls me right back. Get this. She said, thank you so much for responding to me in a text that fast. I found out because I did give her the name of my contractor as well, one that she can use. And she said, I just found out my GC is using the same guy that I sent her, and he's charging $350 a window, but he's putting on $200 on each window.
Oh, I love it.
So she fired the GC, and now granted, a GC needs to make money on everything, but not,
and not excessive.
100 to 200% markups,
Yeah. Well, if you can get away with it, what the heck?
Right. But as investors, we're already trying to make things work in today's market. Okay.
That's right.
So $550 window, the bells rang, and she said, hey, is REP way outdated in price? Are windows really this much? No, they're not. They have not gone up at all. there was a vinyl shortage. Okay.
Right.
There was extrusion companies that weren't able to produce, because vinyl only comes from I think it's 3 manufacturers. That's it in the entire United States. Every single window company buys from 3 different manufacturers. Okay.
Yeah. Most of the window guys in this area, they're not really increasing their prices, but their lead times are getting pretty long.
Right.
I mean, one guy who, we don't use, obviously, is 8 weeks out.
Yep.
But,
and that's a good point to consider, because that is something that, we are dealing with as well. But take this, for example, and then we'll kind of get into more of our content. We're going to talk today about seller objections. We'll add to that as well. And we want to be mindful of time on here, so keep these shorter. So a cabinet company that I use, that I helped set them up a little bit here in town and business, and they've gone through some real serious changes in the last few years trying to define themselves, just because last year they lost almost $500,000 on.
Ouch.
Right, but they were still they had 5 door styles that they were trying to stock at all times, and huge warehouse, and it was they're doing the Chinese knockdown stuff, or ready to assemble, RTA people call them now, instead of the KDs. We used to call them knockdowns, but now they're ready to assemble. So they finally dialed in. What's that?
Pick a name, any name. What's the
right.
marketing word this week?
Yep. And that's it is interesting how it does change, especially in manufacturing. So, but they finally dialed in and said, look, we have all these different colors you can use, but it's one door style. It's that's it. And we're going to stock this. We have all our material. It all comes in. And then it just goes through the paint booth, what stain, what paint, and that's it. And so with them, and going and visiting their plant, and also keeping up with pricing, and knowing that plywood's gone way out of they literally are actually keeping their prices exactly the same. So all of this panic and freak out over, oh my gosh, everything's going up so much. Well, listen, we're not buying a whole house full of 2x4s, so we don't have to worry about that. But as far as cabinets go, these guys decided to value engineer what they're providing us as investors, and say, look, when we find that you don't have finished ends because of the layout, and it doesn't need to be a finished left or finished right because it's not exposed, well, then we're just putting particle board raw on the sides.
Why not?
Right. So we don't need maple. We don't need vinyl skins. We don't need painted, and they're just putting raw board and shooting it on and saying, there you go. And so you can keep it normal, how that, they've been building, but then it's going to come with an increase. But this is how they're coming back to us and saying, we're not raising prices. So, which is great. But
yeah.
So let's get into objections, seller objections, and how to solve them, how to respond. I think you and I qualify as a couple of experts in this area. We can call ourselves pros. I was just telling somebody today, because they were talking to me about how cold calling literally freaks them out, and how they're just not comfortable with that. And that's different than even seller objections, but even just cold calling. And I told them, I said, look, when I first got into this business, many years ago, I remember sending out my first direct mail ever. I was just doing what my coach told me to do. Never expected anything. And I've told this story before. You've heard it. But
I've heard
that
it.
first call came in and I hung up. I literally couldn't deal with it. I had no idea. I was terrified, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, today, I just bought a list of vacant properties, and data comes from the post office, so it's really good. And I skip traced them all, and I'm going to do a teaching class with my students where I just go down and cold call them all. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if you don't tell me what it is. If it's probate, if it's pre-foreclosure, if it is for or divorce, I don't need to know that, because you, like myself, we can just begin that dialogue and have that conversation, and we'll figure out what's going on.
And you ask them a few leading questions, and then when based on the answers, you tailor it accordingly. Right.
Yep. So let me throw a couple at you. You can throw a couple at me. We'll try to do this little this dance, okay? Because really, that's what it is. This is a seller dance.
It is.
All right. So I almost sometimes like to throw out there. This is gold in a lot of cases. I'll just start right off the bat. If it's not a cold call situation, we can talk about how you even do that. A good way to do that. But When I start engaging and just say, hey, look, here's what's going to happen in the beginning. We're going to be this far apart. That's where it's going to be. And so, but as we continue to talk and we trust each other and we're talking more, you're going to be here and I'm going to be here. You're not going to like this. I'm not going to like this, but we're trying to find something that we can agree on. And that is fair. Okay. For both parties. And so as we do this dance, I'm asking you questions. You're asking me, let's try to find that place, because I can't go buy it for X. Okay. Because my whole team's going to kill me because we just lost money. Okay. And you're not going to sell it for, Z over here, because that'd just be giving it away to you. And, so how do we get to that point and solve objections? So first one, calling in, if you were calling me and I'm the seller, and I said, right off the bat, like, hey, well, I'll tell you what, I'm interested in selling for cash. That's not a problem. That's, I've seen you guys around, I've seen your signs, but, how much are you going to give me for it? What are you going to pay me for it?
Well, I have a few questions first. How many bedrooms? Obvious stuff.
Yep. So just a diversion. Right. Yeah.
Divert and, ask questions. I mean, the goal of it really, when you get through it all, is to figure out what their situation is, what their pain point is, and see if you can match their pain point. Because sometimes it's not money. They think it is. They're going to always think it's money. But sometimes their pain point is, I need to be able to move quick. Or one that I had encountered was that they couldn't find a new house, but they needed to sell the old one, and so they wanted to be able to live in the old one while they were finding the new one, or or the new one was being built, and so it was 3 weeks out, but they'd already put their old one on the market, and we come along and it's like, hey, we can get it for that price. So, in that case, there's lots of different solutions. We can rent it back to them, those kind of things.
Yep. Get creative. No, I love that. That's usually what it takes is if somebody's if I'm doing that, if I'm already engaging in that dance and we're starting to move around, condition is always something to bring up. You can bring up at any time, because they want to know, well, why don't you give me a number? Well, no, I need to hear a number from you. I mean, that really that's not productive when you get into that. No. You show me yours first, and then I'll show you mine. Because we want to, hey, can you tell me, have you done any major remodeling to the house in the last, let's just say 5 years? How about 10 years? Like how's the kitchen and the bathrooms? Those are the main things that I'm going to have to, what's that roof look like? So, yep.
Is the furnace 5 feet in diameter, or is it square?
Right. And then if it's circular, you're even in more. Those are the things. So if when that objection comes of once you get past that price, it then becomes, you're moving through condition, and that becomes an obstacle. I would say a question for you to lead into then is really about timeline. Well, hey, when are you looking to close? Because that
How
will
soon
help.
do you have to move?
Yeah, because that will help with those objections that they're coming up with. So, so what if I said, here's one common, now that, well, geez, I can just put it on the market, and you see the market, everything's going for over asking. Sure. So why wouldn't I just do that? Why would I take your offer?
Well, I mean, that may be your best solution. We're investors. We're looking for something to be able to solve your problem. Sure. If you put it on the market, that means you're going to have to fix everything that's broken. If that furnace doesn't work, you're going to have to do that. That flooring, that carpet, all those expenses. We'll take the property as is, because we know how to deal with those things. You got a hoarder house. Well, take the stuff you want and leave the rest. We'll take care of it.
Yep. Those when you get into something that's even a little more sellable as well, it's like, hey, look, we're professional home buyers, and like you said, we buy as is. And hey, if you want to avoid right off the bat look what I'm already saving you. Here's 6% off of what you think,
Right.
okay. Plus whatever you're going to have to repair. Plus, if there are contingencies that work into the deal, has to hit appraisal, has to have showings. You're going to have to, get the lockbox, everybody go through. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. Now, if you're sitting on a gem, like you said, beauty, there's nothing wrong with it, then yeah, go put a sign in the yard. And you know what? I'm also here to help in any way, not just to buy your house. Like, look,
Right.
I have a broker that we work with that is flat fee, and it's a ridiculous flat fee, but he is a professional broker, and it doesn't matter how much your house is, you're going to sell it for. It's a flat fee, and I'll hook you up with him direct. I don't make anything off that. I'm still solving your problem. And if that's the solution, great. A lot of times, even in like probate cases, and this is this shows core values and really what you're about. If you really want to help people, or if you just want to buy houses, we'll even tell them, hey, look, whatever your needs are right now, especially in the situation you're dealing with. I live close. I'm local. I understand that you're out of state, but I'll tell you what, I drove by there the other day. I'm just going to go, if you don't mind, I'll take care of the grass, right now. Let me, I can cut that. If that helps, then let me do that for you right now.
Right.
Again, you're helping, you're also building rapport, but it's not fake. You're actually going to go spend time, but, those become things, if you have those objections right off the bat, that those things are coming out. Like, do I really want to help you, or do I just want to buy your house for cash for a cheap price? And if you say no, I hang up. No, you are getting down to their real root cause of what's going on. Like you said earlier, Scott, that, hey, and what is really going on?
Right. And generally, most people, once you get past a little bit of rapport building, they'll dump their whole story.
Yep.
I mean, my wife's really good at that. She can spend 45 minutes getting the full story. I get a little faster than that because and I probably don't get as full a story as she gets, but it's good. So one of the common questions is, how did you get my name?
Right. Okay. I can give you, I've been fair to you, right, with the hard ones. So that is a great objection that comes across. Like, how did you get this number? And it comes with a tone, right?
Yeah.
And so I love applying honesty in any objection and in any response. Okay. To just say, hey, no problem. You know what? Again, like I told you before, we're professional home buyers. I have an office here in town, and every week we buy certain lists for people that might need our help. And then we put them in. Have you ever heard of skip tracing? We have a company that we buy data from, that all I do is put your address, your name into the system, and I get numbers. And sometimes we get lucky and it's the right number. And that's how I got your phone number. So I did spend I spent some time and some money to get a hold of you. And so, I'd appreciate a, conversation. If the house is for sale, great. If it's not, hey, are there any other properties that you have? Do you own other properties? And a lot of times, this, they do.
They do,
that one's not for sale, but actually I do have one. It's over in Ohio. Well, hey, I've got an investor in Ohio that buys houses. His name's Scott. Okay. So it just leads. Or even asking them, hey, look, it doesn't sound like we're the right fit. If they're getting belligerent or if something, that you're just not meeting, and say, hey, look, we may not be the right, but I'll tell you what, we help people every day in situations where they do need our help. So is there anybody else in your circle that could benefit from us coming in and solving their problem by buying their house with a fair offer for cash and done. So that's always, they're going to see real quick, hey, look, I can't really be mean to this guy. He is really trying to help, in the situation.
And that's really the bottom line. I mean, going at it from the standpoint of you're really trying to help. The fact that you can help yourself along the way is really a side benefit. I mean, it's kind of why we do it, but but the bottom line is that they've got a problem, and we've got solutions. And so the biggest thing is to figure out what their problem is, and be able to understand it in a way that that you can identify various different solutions. And sometimes there's more than one solution. A lot of times there's more than one solution, and you can present them and say, well, we can go this way, or we can go this way. I mean, the rehab estimator has it built right in. We can do cash but we can give you more if you'll hold some of the financing for us.
Right. Yep. Well, cool. Well, we're getting to time here. So I'll just add it to wrap this up. Another way, let's put REP to use here. This is a fantastic tool as well to say, hey, look, whether or not we end up doing this deal, there's still another way I can help. Let's set a time where I can come out to the house. I have software. You're not going to find any other investor that's using tools like I do and systems. Again,
Right.
we're professional home buyers. Emphasize that point. Excuse me. And tell them, hey, look, I have an estimating tool that's unlike any other in the whole country. It gives accurate numbers. So if you're needing to know, hey, what will it cost me to do flooring? What will it cost me to paint the house? What will it cost me to do these repairs on the furnace and on the plumbing?
Right.
I'll walk through the whole house with you, and you'll see the system work. I'll give you an accurate list of repairs that you know, hey, look, this is now I know this is about what it's going to cost if I want to bring it up to full value. I said, part of the system though, is that it's going to show you a cash offer price. It comes with the system. It does it all for me. But that's the beauty of having it. So I will, if you don't mind, I will be leaving you with a cash offer as well. But I'd still love to help you work through those numbers. So, and guess what? Again, you're helping, you're showing them, hey, you're getting an appointment. You're also getting an offer out. Okay. You're getting contact details, and you're on your way. You can't get a deal without sending offers. Right, Scott?
That's right. It's all a numbers game.
It is.
And offers is
great.
The
All
numbers.
right. Well, we'll leave it at that. We'll come up with some more objections because we hear them all the time, right? That's nature of the business.
No.
If everyone said yes,
hear anything, they always say yes. Of course.
Right. Which guru is selling that course?
I don't know, but I want to go to it.
Right. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.